Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the New Mentalities podcast. And today we're going to be talking about online school and time management, along with self care and just how to take care of yourself, especially during tough times with school.
Yeah, so personally, online school has been quite challenging for me to manage because I find myself always laying in bed in school, or like whenever I wake up, I just stay in my bed and go straight to class and stay in bed. And then sometimes I'll sleep in class. So I find it really important that you should have a really comfortable study space where you could be productive and actually do work.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that just because when I have a clean desk, I just feel a lot more motivated to do something because
Yeah.
I would get really distracted by a messy desk, and then I would try to clean it, and it would take me like an hour, and then I'd be like not motivated anymore. So I feel like a really good study environment is really essential to being productive.
And another thing, so basically, whenever I study at my desk, I always look for things to make me procrastinate, be like, oh, I'm so cold, or like, I'm so hungry and thirsty. Let me just do something and get some water real quick. Yeah, I'm totally not ignoring my homework. Yeah, so basically, I think snacks and water are a must-have for a study setup. So you should keep snacks and water nearby when you decide to go to class or when you do studying, because I mean, we can do it. Like, it's not in real person class where we can't bring food into our classes, but now we can actually eat in class.
Yeah, that's definitely a perk of online school. I also think like having really good lighting while you're studying can be super helpful just because there's like a huge window in my room, and then when it gets dark outside, I just don't want to like turn on the lights just because like during the day it's so nice and bright, and like at night like the lights coming from my laptop, but my eyes are also always strained. So I feel like
Yeah, definitely. I
Mhm.
can relate to that. Like, I have a lamp next to me and I always turn it on whenever I'm studying because I just can't work in the dark, or like with just a like at night with a plain light bulb. It's like I have to set the mood to study, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
lofi or and then like turn on my lamp just for the ambiance.
Yeah, I also really like to play like really good steady music from like Spotify. One of my favorite playlists is like the Lo-Fi Fruits or Lofi. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I find that really nice just because I can't study with music that have words in it anyways, because like I would start to sing along. So
Yeah, like start dancing. Just start wobbling in my chair, just like raising my arms or whatever.
Mhm. um, Another point is to also like when you're studying to set time aside for relaxing, just because I know that especially with online school, like the day feels like it never ends because you have school from your room, and then after school you do your homework or you study, and it just feels like school is continued until like 9 p.m. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, like it's like a never ending day of school. So I think it's really important that you schedule out your time, whichever whatever works for you, and you just set time aside to like relax, to go on a walk, to do some exercise, to read a book, or to just like do something you like rather than something that you kind of feel like you have to do for school.
Yeah, that's definitely important, especially in the pandemic. You always have to take care of yourself, watch yourself, and self care is extremely important. So make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I also find that like cooking or like baking is really therapeutic. So I really love to bake with my sister on our like lunch breaks, or like I would make a smoothie, and it'd be kind of hard just because my blender like it can't blend frozen food really well, and it always gets stuck. So it's kind of hard sometimes, but I find it so much fun and such a great like break from screen time, and also like even like reading books I kind of don't like doing during during my breaks, just because it's like I'm staring at like words again, like just how it's like in school. So I feel like cooking or baking or making a smoothie could be a really good thing to do.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Like, sometimes during the day, if I get too bored, I tend to like exercise or Google something on YouTube. YouTube something on YouTube. I say that. Search something on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like exercise or stretch or even yoga. Meditation also works. That's really good. But yeah, whenever I have free time or I'm just there's too much going on, I just like to exercise. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that could be helpful during studying or school is to always have really good posture, because at the end of the day, you're like in your chair at your desk for like hours on end, like 7, 8 hours. And you don't want, when you get up, you don't want your back to be sore, your neck to be sore. So I think like just watching your posture and making sure you have good posture as you sit at a proper chair with a table, I think that can definitely be very helpful at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. My chair is like so hard that I've learned to bring a pillow whenever I sit on this thing. It's literally so hard. So sometimes I actually lay on my bed to do my work. That's not good. You should not do that. But definitely. So, for example, there's this thing called the Pomodoro technique, right? So, whenever you study, say for like 25 minutes, then you have a break for 5 minutes, you should stretch during your break, or like, as we said before, bring some snacks or some water. But yeah, definitely make sure your posture is good and stretch once in a while, because your bones and your spine, they need to exercise.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think it's fine to like work on your bed or work on your couch, just as long as you're like maybe switching between couch and desk, bed and desk, just so that your posture, like you don't get a sore back, you don't get a sore neck. I think that's really important. And actually, another tip for studying is to get rid of distractions. I think we touched on this earlier with a clean desk, but another way, this connecting back to a previous podcast about social media and like online school, so check that out. But another way to get rid of distractions is just get rid of your phone or like turn off notifications. And there you have like, what I feel like when I leave my phone downstairs and I go up to my room and I just study, like I can study so much better, because especially even if I see my phone, I just want to pick it up, or when I get a notification, I want to text my friends back, even though I should be focusing on studying. So I think just keeping your phone away from your study space is going to be really helpful.
Definitely. Like as we said before, sometimes I just have to set up the study environment. Like the lights have to be correct, my chair has to be comfortable, and everything has to be just right for me to study.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I think that also, if you FaceTime your friends while you're studying, that can be extremely helpful. And also, like, if you can't seem to leave your phone downstairs, you can take your phone, you can FaceTime your friend on your phone so that you don't use your phone. And I think like that's what I've been doing, which has been really good for my studying habits. And I also just think that having your friend there to hold you accountable, to make sure you're on top of things, to make sure you're doing your work is extremely helpful. And you guys, it's like it benefits both of you, because you guys could help each other with your schoolwork, with studying, but also you're just making sure that you guys aren't getting distracted, or you guys aren't like getting off track and wasting time doing something else. So I think that having your friends there with you on FaceTime is a really good way to just like make sure you're studying and make sure you're not procrastinating everything.
Yeah, I 100% agree with this. So recently, I've actually been going on this site called studystream.live. And what happens is basically you log into a Zoom with, say, 100 to 400 people, and you turn on your cameras, or you don't have to, it's an option. Then you stay muted, and then you just study. Like, I found it so helpful to just have someone watch me study. I know it sounds really weird, but it's like they're being there, and you now have to study because they're studying too. And it's like
Mhm.
you're forcing yourself to study. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you want to check that out, studystream.live is like has really helped me. I've studied. I used to never study. Like I would just like watch YouTube, lay in my bed all day. And but like StudyStream, I found that I could study for hours on end. Like I used to never study. That's crazy. So now I feel like really productive with StudyStream. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like definitely like things like these, like some good things have come out of online school, and we can like for study stream people can use it even when we do go back to in-person school,
Yeah.
because we're always still gonna have to study for tests, unfortunately. So I think that's a really good piece of advice to do.
Definitely, definitely. So the next tip is to try and lay out all your deadlines. So basically, I also do this. So I've downloaded this app called Notion, and basically, Notion is really useful. So you could download templates to make it look really aesthetic. That's what I did. And you could have themes on your Notions. So, what Notion basically does, it's like a note taking and calendar, to do list, habit, checky thingy majigger. And it really helps me like step back for a second and look at all the stuff I have to do, but at the same time it looks really pretty. So I could just appreciate the beautifulness of Notion while looking at all the stuff I have to do.
Yeah, I actually plan out my week in a paper agenda. I know like lots of people have been using online things, and I like that can definitely be a lot more convenient. But I just find so much satisfaction out of crossing things off on like my to-do list on paper. So I feel like people are like underrating like actually writing it out on paper. I feel like it's so much fun, but definitely like online resources like what you mentioned, Lisa, is definitely like something I would want to like check out, because I feel like it's also a lot easier when you can just type things out, when you can like move things. It also looks a lot more organized. And I guess this also leads to the next point of to-do lists, because I feel like those just really help me get things done. And I'm also more motivated to get things done just because I can just cross it off and just not have to worry about it again. So,
Oh yeah, what you said earlier, crossing things off, that feeling is amazing. I have this whiteboard I started using a few weeks ago. So every day I start writing off my like goals for the day, or I guess it's a to-do list, but I just say it's like a goal list. So it's
mhm.
like all the stuff I want to do, like homework, volunteering, do I have to contact someone today? Or what do I have to do today? Yeah, it's like, and then once I finish it, I satisfyingly erase it. The
Oh
feeling,
my gosh, that sounds
yeah.
amazing. Like sometimes I even forget to email people back, and I'd have to write it in my agenda because I'd be in class and I'd be trying to focus, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person emailed me like literally 2 days ago. I have to get back to her. So I feel like even like writing the smallest things in your agenda can make a really big difference, because oftentimes it's the smallest things that I forget.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I can definitely agree with that. So my dad told me like a few really good quotes. So here, let me pull it up. So what he said was, it's not what you know, how much you know, but it's about who you know. And so I was like, whoa, mind blown. So I wrote that down and I was like, heck yeah.
Mhm. I feel like having inspirational quotes all over your room is really helpful, and they also look nice. I don't know. I feel like if you like write really like nicely and put it all up in like organized, in an organized fashion, it'll look great for your room decor.
100%. I also write down some affirmations. Like, for example, I have on my Notion, it says, I'm valued even when I'm not productive. When this is all over, I will be so proud. If I keep doing it, it will become easier. I will be okay and I won't feel like this forever. It's like kind of motivational and
Mhm.
me to do better.
Yeah, and I feel like these are the kind of things that's important for us to remember. So like having that there to remind us can really be effective in helping us with anything we're going through.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
So our next point, I think, is to ask your teachers or professors for help if you're ever struggling. I feel like I'm always nervous to ask my teachers for extra time because I don't know how their marking goes. I don't know if they have to get our grades back to us by a certain deadline. So I'm always nervous to ask. But what I found is that teachers are there to help you. They should be there to like make accommodations. Like if you're really going through a tough time, you should just ask. And if they say no, that's the worst thing that can happen, right? So I feel like you should always just try to ask your teachers. And honestly, for me, based on my personal experiences, most of the time, if you have a really good reason, they'll say yes. And that'll just relieve so much stress. And also, it can help you do better on your assignment because of the extra time. So I think it is so, so important to take advantage of having a teacher and being able to ask them like if you could have extra time because it honestly helped me so much. It helped me do a lot better on my assignments just because having that
yeah,
extra time, it allowed me to do more research, to work harder, just add on to all of like the work I already had before.
yeah, I can relate to that because honestly, I've had these assignments where they were overdue. I just like a few days overdue, and I was like, I emailed my teacher. I was expecting them to say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but this is the deadline. You can't change it." But when I emailed them, they were actually so nice. They gave me extensions and they asked if I was okay, and I was like, "Oh."
Mhm.
Yeah, this other time I was actually in class and I just wasn't feeling it. Like it was a really, really bad day for me. And I asked my teacher, they gave us work. So I'm like, I'm really sorry. I just don't feel up to it today and I can't get into it today. And they actually gave the whole class a day off. um
Oh,
it's
shoot.
like we watched a movie and they were so nice about it. I was like, wow. They like the teacher that I had was really caring, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like we underestimate how understanding and caring teachers are
Yeah,
oftentimes because they would always be telling us, like, oh, yeah, make sure to get it in by this date. But I feel like if you can't get it in, then you can't get it in. And they would be understanding of your situation.
yeah,
And another thing is if teachers do have office hours to always take advantage of them and to ask your questions because I feel like for me I always go to extra help or office hours because I would always have questions that I would need to ask and having it clarified would just save me so much time in the long run when I'm like studying for a test because then I would actually be understanding the parts I was struggling with. So definitely go to extra help or office hours if your school or your teacher has them.
definitely. Yeah, like if you have anything to clarify or if you're just unsure of anything or you just want help in general, like I'm sure teachers will be open-minded to anything. Like they're just there for you. They're basically our mentors, our guidance guide. They're there for guiding us and just helping us learn in general.
Mhm. And I think another thing is when you're studying, it's also really helpful to set time limits and set goals for yourself. Especially when I'm studying with my friend, we would, in our FaceTime call, at the beginning of a FaceTime call, we would just state our goals, what we want to get done by what time. And that would really motivate me to get it done because I would plan it and I would be like, oh, if I get this done at this time, I can start my next assignment and get it done by that time. And then I could go to bed earlier. So I feel like setting goals and time limits for yourself can really be helpful in helping you be organized, but also in helping you get things done and be productive.
Yeah, I've actually been doing this recently too. So, along with my study stream, I would start by opening my Forest or Flora app, depending on which device I'm on. Laptop has Forest and my phone has Flora. So I would either open these apps and start a timer for, say, 25 minutes and a break of 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how long of a break I want. So basically, after the 25 minutes, in the 25 minutes, I also set my goals. So basically, before the 25 minutes, I also set my goals on my Notion, or in Flora, they have this thing where you could write down all of the stuff you want to get down, all of the stuff you want to get done. And it's honestly really useful. It helps me get motivated. And for Forest and Flora, I believe when you exit the app, it kills a tree. So basically, I think that's too much. I believe in Forest and Flora, when you start your timer, it's you plant a tree and you have to keep it alive the whole time. And if you exit the app, you will kill your tree. So yeah, you better get to studying.
Yeah, I feel like those are really great motivators too, because then like no one will want to kill a tree. So another thing to do for studying, or if you just don't understand your course content and you don't have extra help hours or you don't have office hours, you can always Google something. You can always look it up on YouTube. Some really great resources are places like Khan Academy, I'm sure you've heard of, but just educational YouTube videos in general. I know I was struggling with one of my courses just because it was an online course. So I just like went on Khan Academy and it explained everything perfectly clearly. And yeah, I feel like that can just be a really helpful tool that people often forget about.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So sometimes I actually do visit Khan Academy, or maybe sometimes I'll go to IXL because I have to test myself. Or there's actually these really helpful study videos where it motivates you to study. So basically, the video is a person and they're just going to sit there and study with you. So when I turn on the video, it's like I'm studying with someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I think we're going to jump into our next topic, which is self-care and school. And I think one of the best things to do for self-care is to go on a walk. Like I think we've touched on that earlier, but going on walks can be so helpful. Just getting fresh air, going outside, especially when you're stuck in your room all day, looking at a screen, just like going outside on your breaks or whenever. It's such a great way to just like take a break. And I feel like I always hear it from my teachers, but I never really did it until my mom was like, "Oh, do you want to go on a walk with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was an amazing experience. And it's probably just because I haven't been outside in a while, but I don't know. I feel like taking walks are just so helpful, especially in clearing my head.
Yeah, yeah. Or going on bike rides, that really helps me too, especially with your friends. Well, social distancing, but still, sometimes, maybe occasionally, just bike with your family. And that honestly helps me so much.
Mm-hmm. And another thing for self care is whenever you're studying for a long period of time, this can also be a motivating factor, but you can reward yourself afterwards. For example, after studying for 30 minutes, you can go take a break and you can like watch a movie for like watch a TV episode for 30 minutes and then get back to studying. And I feel like a lot of time people feel guilty for prioritizing self-care over work, but that should never be the case. Self-care comes first, and especially with online school, it can be really difficult to take care of yourself, but like that's why it's so important, because it just comes, you have to remember it comes over school.
Exactly. Your mental health, your physical health, nothing else goes above that. Like your own health is the most important thing you could ask for. And so you said before, study for like 30 minutes and then watch a movie for 30 minutes. But I actually saw the Pomodoro technique, as I mentioned before. the Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes for studying, 5-minute break. Sometimes I actually find this Pomodoro technique a little too short of a break. So I'd like to space it out like 45 minutes of studying and then like an hour of a break, or 20 minutes of studying and 10 minutes of a break. So it's like not as unrealistic as 5 minutes, because personally for me, I find 5 minutes way too short for my like to enjoy anything or to like even watch anything. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just finding whatever works for you. So if you need a longer break, take the longer break. And if you feel like you can go for longer in studying with a shorter break, then do that, because everyone's just different. Everyone has different study habits that work for them. So I guess just finding whatever works best for you. And another thing is with online school, we might find our screen time has gone way up. Especially, I find on my phone, my screen time goes up because a lot of time during class I would go on my phone, which isn't that great. And I feel like just setting time aside from your phone is so important. And we had another podcast episode about that as well. But I just feel like that's like the overall thing that's like something you should take away from this podcast today, because it's so important just to get away from your screen and just to like take care of yourself and like doing things like baking, going outside for a walk, doing things like that, just to make sure that you're doing okay.
Yeah. So actually, my my screen time almost peaked 16 hours a few weeks ago. 16 hours. So I decided to like set time limits, because on iPhones, I believe you can set time limits on certain apps, and it'll like you either ignore or just get off the app if you set the time limit. So I've set time limits for myself now, and my screen time isn't 16 hours anymore. It's actually 11.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, a whole 5 hours off my.
Yeah, I also think that what can be helpful, I mean, this might not decrease your screen time just because the phone won't know, but if you listen to audiobooks or podcasts, like that way you're not exactly looking at a screen. So it's like it's still entertaining to listen to, but it just gives your eyes a break.
Yeah, definitely. Or just like you said before, like reading books could also help with that.
Mhm. So I feel like the conclusion to this podcast would just be, don't feel guilty if you have a lot of screen time on devices or you're struggling with online school and time management, because everyone else is in the same boat as you. And I just feel like we just have to make sure that our mental health comes on top and that we just take care of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the New Mentalities podcast, and we hope to see you again. Bye.
Bye.